Hello everyone. In the previous session, we discussed about clauses, what is clauses, types of clauses, and I promised you to discuss about dependent clauses. This is actually very important clause and we can say it has a prominent role to understand clauses. So yes, dependent clauses can be divided into three parts: noun clauses, adjective clauses, and adverb clauses. So we'll go one by one in detail of each and every noun clause. If we are talking about noun clause, so yes, by the name only noun clause, it means it work like a noun. A noun clause is a dependent clause that works like a noun. And main thing is here how we will justify and how we will identify it. This is very necessary. So to identify the noun clause in the given sentence, ask a question. This is very important point. How you will identify, how you will recognize, you should ask a question. Which question? What? What? To the verb of the principal clause. The clause that answer the questions is noun clause actually. Let's see. See this example. I know where he lives. If we will divide it into two parts, principal clause and noun clause. See, like last one, in the last session, we discussed what is dependent clause, which doesn't give a complete sense. If we will divide it in two parts, you can see I know parts. I is subject and know is the verb. So I know one part, and where he lives. Where he lives, he subject, lives, verb. So this sentence we can divide into two parts. I know one clause and where he lives another clause. And we studied that dependent clause doesn't give any complete sense. Where he lives, it is not giving complete sense. I know, this is giving the complete sense. I know. But which clause is this? Noun, adverb, adjective. To understand it, this is very necessary to put a question. You know, this is written here. You may ask the question to the verb of the principal clause. What is the verb of principal clause? No. Okay? No. This is the verb of the principal clause. How you will arise the question? What do I know? What? By the help of what we have to raise the question. So what do I know? When you are asking this question, you are getting the answer where he lives. It means where he lives. This is the answer, or that's why this is noun clause. So this is principal clause, I know, and where he lives, this is noun clause. How we will recognize? By asking the question to the verb of the principal clause. Okay, and whatever the answer we are getting, this answer is noun clause. Yes. Now more important points we should keep in mind. A noun clause is introduced either by the connector that. It's not always ki, if in example I have given you here where, by which connectors we can write noun clause and we can find out, like connectors that, or by question words such as how, what, where, why, when, who. It means all the word of WH family. When yes or no questions are put to a noun clause, the clause is introduced by if or whether. When yes or no questions are put to a noun clause, the clause is introduced by if or whether. We can understand this point by the help of narration also. Direct and indirect speech. You know, when there is interrogative sentence which start with the helping verbs. With the helping verbs means when question comes in the form of or demand of yes or no. That time To change into indirect speech, we use if or whether. So this point is here. We should keep in our mind. We should correlate all the points of and all the topics of grammar when we learn anything. Subject comes before the verb in the noun clause. There is no question mark unless the whole sentence is a question. Yes, of course, the complete sentence must be interrogative. Yes, here are some examples of noun clauses. We can try to understand by putting the question, by asking the question using what. What he does is not known to me. Suppose this question is here. This example is in front of you. What he does is not known to me. If we will divide this sentence into two parts, how it will be? What he does. This is here, not giving any sense. It means, and you can feel that there is a need of few more words to make it complete. It means this is dependent clause. It is not known to me. It's not known to me. This is principal clause. And here we can put the question, what is not known to you and not to me? What he does. This is the answer. So we can say this is noun clause. We can identify this is noun clause. I know who has stolen your purse. I know. Principal clause. I subject, know, verb. This is principal clause. Who has stolen your purse? Who has stolen your purse? Not giving complete sense. There's a need few words to make the complete sense. I know who has stolen your purse. And how you can frame the question, I know. What do you know? What do you know? An answer is here. Who has stolen your purse? So this is very clear to understand. This is noun clause. Let's see the next one. Do you know do you know how this machine is operated? Do you know? Though this is interrogative sentence, but you is subject, know is your verb, and giving complete sense. So this is principal clause. Do you know? What do you know? You can arise the question. What do you know? How this machine is operated. Okay, if it is only how this machine is operated, this is dependent clause. But which type of dependent clause? Because we are able to put or to ask the question what to the verb. Okay, what do you know? So very clear. Okay, this is noun clause. I'm not impressed by what he did. I'm not impressed by what he did. This is again interrogative. So how you will segregate this sentence? I'm not impressed by. I'm not impressed by. This is principal clause. What he did. If it is separate, what he did, the question will be in your mind. What he did means this is not giving the complete sense. So this way we can judge ourselves. We can self-evaluate if we are able to understand this clause or not. Able to judge noun clause or not. There are few examples in front of you. Yes, you may try to understand, try to solve yourself. This is the easiest way to find out, to identify noun clause. And yes, one more thing, one important thing is here. As you can see this last sentence, he said this is quite true. You can judge, children, that this is direct sentence. Yes, in narration, if you're talking here, direct and indirect, direct sentence. Because this is in double inverted commas. In that way, should understand very easily this is noun clause. Why? Because he said, what did he say? What did he say? Very easy to arise the question. So this is always comes in the category of noun clause. So we'll go on the next one, adjective or relative clauses. Adjective clause qualifies a noun or a pronoun that goes before it in the principal clause. An adjective clause work as an adjective. It means it qualifies and it tells the quality of the noun. Yes, we will judge here, we will see that the sentences tells about the quality of noun. It gives more information about a noun. They always start with relative pronoun such as which, who, whom, where, that, and relative adverbs also when, where, why. One important point, because this type of though I should say very silly and very common mistake done by the children, we should remember, we should keep in our mind, we use who, whose, whom and that for referring to person, or which and that for referring things and animals. So for things and animals, which and that. For human being, who, whose, whom and that. We'll try to understand through these examples. This is the same story that he told me last night. What is noun here? Story. Yes? This is the same story that he told me last night. How it is qualifying it? As telling about the story, the same story has been told last night also. We are discussing here about this story. To understand this adjective clauses through these examples, this is the same story that he told me last night. Same story. We are talking, this is the noun. We are talking about this noun, that same story as this has been told last night. It means this noun has been qualified here. Childhood is the time when the seeds of character are sown. Childhood. Childhood is the noun here, and we are talking that seeds of character are sown. So this is qualifying this childhood, this noun, telling the quality of noun. What is his speciality? He is Mr. Sharma. In this example, we can say this Mr. Sharma, whose son is doctor in civil hospital. Mr. Sharma, noun. And yes, of course, we studied these start with whose, whom and all. Whose son is doctor in civil hospitals. We are discussing about Mr. Sharma. It means this clause is qualifying here Mr. Sharma. Here was a man who had built a unique instrument. A man is a noun here, about whom we are talking, that who has built a unique instrument. This rest part is qualifying here about this noun, a man. So this way we can understand, children, that all these nouns which have been given here, they are qualifying by the given clause. They are telling the quality of this noun, and we can judge, yes, these are the adjective or relative clauses, and they start with which, who, whom, where, that, when, where, why, with all these words. But this is not like these words when, where, why, they can use only in adjective. Actually, we can use in adverb also. I'll tell you, I'll describe you how we can get help to recognize in that condition. Now the next one is here, adverb clause. A clause that function as an adverb and introduced by the subordinating conjunction. Subordinating conjunction here, like same, when, whenever, where, before, after. All these, actually how you will recognize, they tell us about time, place, manner, condition, purpose, effect or result, reason, comparison and proportion. Yes, children, adverb you studied in detail in your 7th and 8th class also. adverb of time, adverb of place, adverb of manner, adverb of condition, adverb of purpose. So these all things, if coming in your mind, this is easy to recognize this. They are frequently movable with the sentence. Let's see. When the timer rings, we know the cake is done. When the timer rings, this is a clause, dependent clause. How we can say dependent clause? Because this is not giving a complete thought. When the timer rings, what happened? Yes, comes in the mind. So result is here. We know the cake is ready. Yes, and the same sentence we can write like this also. We know the cake is done when the timer rings. Both are correct. But what is the difference? If we are using adverb clause in the beginning, to make a complete and clear sense, we'll put a comma here. Okay? The train had left before we reached the station. You can judge your tense also here. Had left. This is a past perfect tense. Yes? The train had left before we reached the station. This is a past perfect tense. But how we will judge that this is adverb clause? Before word. Before is here. The train had left. Principal clause. Before we reach the station, this is dependent clause. But how we will judge this is adverb clause? Before word will help us because showing the time. If he had asked me, I would have helped him. If he had asked me, I would have helped him. Let's see. I would have helped him. This is principal clause. If he had asked me, this is dependent clause. But dependent, what type of dependent? If he had asked me, it means condition. Here, if word has been used, adverb of condition. Okay? Only I'll help him when he will ask for the help. I write whenever I get time, whenever I get free time. I write. I subject, write verb. It means this is principal clause. Whenever I get free time. This is dependent clause. Whenever I get free time, what will happen? What you will do? Many questions come in the mind. And answer is here, I write. So I write whenever I get free time. Whenever. Showing here, adverb of time. Whenever. Adverb of time. It began to rain as soon as we reached home. Again showing time. It began to rain. It began to rain, principal clause. Or when. Or you can say as soon as we reached home. That is dependent clause. Which dependent? Adverb clause. Because showing the time. As she reached the, as she read the letter, tears rolled down her cheeks. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Principal clause. As she read the letter, this is dependent clause. Why? Because as she read the letter, question comes in mind. This is not giving in like complete thought. It is not giving complete thought. But the result is reflecting. Tears roll down her cheeks. Okay, so this way we can understand after reading the sentences, it is easy enough to understand. This is adverb. If telling about time, place, manner, condition, purpose, result, effect, reason, comparison, proportion, this type of sentence is there. So we should understand this is adverb clause. If telling the quality of the noun or qualifies the noun, it means adjective clause. If we are able to put the question to the verb of the principal clause and there is the answer in dependent clause, so it means noun clause is there. Now I have prepared some important points for you so that you can easily understand. In the beginning I told you children ki like where, when, why, that, These are the conjunction can be used in noun clause, adjective, adverb, anywhere. So don't be confused ki like they are used in any of the clause. How we can understand? Again here the same rule will help us, which I told you, by using, first of all, if any sentence is there, try to put the question to the main clause, to the verb of main clause, what. If you are successful for that, noun clause. Then again try, if any sentence is telling about the quality of the noun or qualifies the noun, adjective clause. If it is telling about the time, place, manner, result, all these things, adverb clause. Okay, let's see. We'll try to understand through these examples. First of all, we have to concentrate on function of the clause. Whatever the sentence is in front of you, you should try to find out the function, how the clause is working. Working is functioning as noun, as adverb, or as an adjective. So this is very important. Now let's see some examples are here in front of you with the same words, such as where. You can see where in all these three sentences, but these three are different clauses. How? We'll try to understand. I want to know where she stays. I want to know where she stays. First of all, as I told you, the rule number one, we should try to put a question, to ask a question to the verb of the principal clause. Tense and divide into two parts, such as I want to know where she stays. What is the principal clause? What is dependent clause? This is very necessary to know first of all. This is secondary thing to judge noun clause, adjective clause, and adverb clause. So I want to know, giving complete sense. I subject, want verb. I want to know. Complete sense is here. Where she stay. Where she stays. So this is not giving any sense. If somebody want to know, if somebody is telling, we are not getting this point. So this is where she stays. This is dependent clause, or you can say subordinate clause, and the first half, I want to know, this is principal clause. Now the first rule, we will try to ask the question to the verb. I want to know. What do you want to know? Yes, and answer is where she stays. Absolutely correct. This is noun clause. See, again here where has been used. The sentence is I went to the village where I was born. I went to the village. This is principal clause. I subject, went to work. I went to the village. It is giving complete thought. So this is principal clause. Where I was born. This is not giving a sense. You are telling, you are asking, and what is this? Right? So here where I was born. This is dependent clause. Now this is the time to think. Dependent, but noun clause, adjective, or adverb. So if you want to ask the question, I went to the village. Where did you go? But not the question with what. I'm not able to put my question by using what to the verb. Okay, so first point, noun clause, no. Big no, cross. Now the second one is here. I went to the village where I was born. Village is the noun here, and where I was born. It means this is telling the quality of village. It means this clause is qualifying the noun village. How? Because village is my birthplace. Okay, so I went to the village. Which village? Which is my birthplace. It is qualifying this village, this noun. So this is adjective clause because this is telling the quality of village. This is my birthplace. I found the book where I had put it. I found the book. Book is subject here. Okay, first if we will divide, I found the book. This is principal clause. Where I had put it. This is dependent clause. But which dependent clause? I found the book. What did you found? Yes, question can be a What did you find? What did you find if you are saying, so your answer is here already. You found a book. So it means, but in rule, if you remember, you will go on the slide of noun clause, you will read answer is dependent clause. If you are getting your answer in principal clause only, you found a book. So this is useless. It means this is not fruitful. So here we will think again. Noun clause is not there. I found a book where I had put. Where I had put. It is not telling any quality of the book. If sentence can be, I found a book which I was reading yesterday. So that time we can say, okay, talking about this book only. But it is telling here where I had put. It means telling about the adverb of place. Adverb of place, where it had been kept. Okay, so telling about adverb of place. So this is adverb clause. So yes, children, I think this is easy enough. As much as we'll practice, we'll find out this topic is not difficult. First of all, we'll try to know the noun clause by asking the question to the verb of the principal clause using what. Second, we'll try to find out the quality of the noun. And third one, we'll try if telling about the place, manner, and all these. So this is telling about adverb, place, adverb of place. Now let's see, we'll try about the another point, that is when. When also we can use in all these three, noun, adjective, and adverb clause. It is here. Do you know when they come? When we will divide it, do you know? Okay, this is principal clause. When they come, this is dependent clause. Now I know very well you are able to divide in two part, principal clause and dependent clause. Yes, I know you can do. Yes, so here, do you know? We'll try to put a question. What do you know? And if you are asking what do you know, answer is here, when they come. So yes, this is easy enough to guess. This is noun clause because we are getting the answer in this dependent clause. So do you know when they come? It means this is noun clause. Do you remember the time when they come? Do you remember the time when they come? Okay, now do you remember? What do you remember? We can put the question, what do you remember? And here it is, remember the time. Again here, remember the time. Time is the part of principal clause. So no, this is wrong. This was the wrong way to ask the question. Our question must be as giving the answer of this here, when they come. So no, we are not able to put the question. Now again another thing will decide if this second half, it means this dependent clause is able to tell the quality of noun. Do you remember the time? Your time is noun. And they came, when they come. This is adjective clause because when is here is speciality of time. This clause is qualifying time because telling the particular time when they come. Next one. I was at home when they come. I was at home when they come. Here, I was at home, principal clause. When they come, subordinate clause. And yes, of course, when they come, telling here adverb of time. If when it is given, adverb of time. I was at home. When they come, it means adverb of time. It means adverb clause. Now let's see some more examples here that also we can use in all three. He fears that he will fail. He fears. He subject, fears verb means principal clause. That he will fail, dependent clause. And he fears, how we can guess this is noun, adjective, and adverb clause. We'll try first of all to put a question. He fears. Fear for what? Yes, that is he will fail. Okay, noun clause. Uneasy lies the head that wears a crown. Here, Uneasy lies a head that wears a crown. Uneasy lies a head, principal clause, that wears a crown, that wears, dependent clause, that wears a crown, not giving complete sense. But here this crown is telling the speciality of this head. This crown is for this head. So, adjective. I'm glad that you have come. I'm glad. I. Subject. I'm glad. This is principal clause. I'm glad that you have come. I'm glad. This is principal clause, that you have come. This is dependent or subordinate clause. And here it is telling, I'm glad that you have come, telling the reason. Why are you glad? Reason is you have come. So adverb of reason. So this is adverb clause. Which. Next one we are taking which. Do you know which way leads to the station? Do you know which way leads to the station? Do you know is principal clause. Which way leads to the station? Dependent clause. Do you know? What do you know? Question. What do you know? Yes, we can ask the question. And answer is here. Which way leads to the station? Easy to say. This is noun clause. The book which you gave me is lost. The book which you gave me is lost. So if we can say the book is lost. The book is lost. This is principal clause. Which you gave me. This is subordinate clause. Or you can say dependent clause. If we will read it, we are talking here about this book only. This is qualifying this book. So this is adjective clause. And I know very well that now easily you can understand, you can identify yourself. When you will try again and again, read the sentences and will try to identify, it will be very easy. Now let's see other also. Who? I asked him who he was. I asked him, principal clause, who he was. Subordinate clause, I asked him. What did you ask? Who he was. This is the question. You want to know about he, right? So this is noun clause. God helps those who help themselves. God helps those. Principal clause, who help themselves. Subordinate clause, and this who help themselves. This is telling about those person, those particular who help themselves. It means this clause is qualifying this noun those, right? Telling about these person who help themselves. So this is adjective clause. Why? I don't know why he has not come. I don't know. I don't know. This is principal clause. Why he has not come? This is subordinate clause. What don't you know? What is here? This is the answer of your question. So, noun clause. I don't know the reason why he has failed. I don't know the reason. See, I don't know here also. But here's the additional part. I don't know the reason. Because if you will arise the question, what don't you know? So you will get the answer, the reason. And reason is the part of principal clause already. So we can't ask this question. So I don't know the reason why he has failed. So here, why he has failed. This is just clarifying the reason. This is qualifies here. This second clause, dependent clause, is qualifying the reason. What is the reason? If I asked him if he would come back. Would come back. Principal clause, I asked him if he would come back. dependent clause. Now we will try to arise the question. I asked him, what did you ask? What did he ask? Answer is, if he would come back. So noun clause. This is noun clause. If you work hard, you will get success. If you will work hard. This is dependent clause. You will get success. This is principal clause. And here, you will get success. If you work hard, you will get success. If you will work hard, if you work hard, this is dependent clause. You will get success, principal clause. And here you can judge. You will get success. This success is possible with hard work, right? So this clause is qualifying here success. So this way, children, we can understand, we can try to know how we can recognize, how we can identify different type of clauses. And it depends on your practice, but I expect and I have this hope that you will be able to understand and to identify the clauses now in a better way. Try definitely here. Even one practice paper also I have prepared with 10 sentences. When you will be able to do them, it means you learn something. You try for that. Okay, one I'm trying for you, one I'm telling you. My friend helped me when I was in danger. Because all these sentences are mixed now. They are not based on any particular, they are mixed. So this is important. If you will be able to recognize, to identify, it means you learn. It means this session is successful. So this sentence, my friend helped me when I was in danger. First of all, we will divide the sentence into two parts. Principal clause, my friend helped me. Principal clause, when I was in danger. So this is dependent clause, which I don't feel that there is possible. Then we can ask the question, what? My friend helped me. What is not? This is not suitable to ask any question to the verb, right? By the help of what? And this is here. If we are thinking about adjective. My friend helped me when I was in danger. We should understand when. This is telling about time. When I was in danger, telling about time. It means, okay, this is adverb of time. Then one sentence I have done for you. There are 10 sentences. I want that you may try yourself. After this slide, even I have given the answers also. But you should check these answers later on after judging yourself and after self-evaluation. This is very necessary. Till then, you will not try yourself. This will not be useful. I hope you have enjoyed this, and this session